Hi, this is Peter from Three Men and a Whisky. This is my introductory video so you can get to know me and some of my interests outside of whisky and spirits, of which there are quite a few, but I'll just highlight some of them here now. Okay, first let me say, I really enjoy playing folk music. Been learning for about 7 or 8 years now. 7 years definitely. Not very good at it so far, but I'm still practicing. Who knows, might get there. I started learning because, as you'll see, I write about folk music, and I thought it'd give me a greater insight into the work that musicians put in. I didn't learn when I was younger, so it is an uphill battle, but an uphill battle I like to tackle head on. Okay, so let's talk about whiskey. That's what we're all here to talk about, isn't it? I do like a fair mixture of whiskey. I think when I did a flavour profile thing a few years back, it said that my preferred whiskey was dry, fruity, stuff from the Highlands really. But I can take whiskey from pretty much anywhere. I do like a sherry cask, but I can get my fill of that quite quickly. I'm not a massive fan of Irish and USA bourbons, but I'll give anything a try, and I'm open for my mind to be changed at any moment. And I like peaty whiskies too. So rather than show you my whiskey collection, which is at a contrast to Nigel and JD's, Nigel and John's, I will instead show you a sample that I've picked up out of my whiskey cellar. So I've got Wireworks Kuduro. This has been in bourbon casks. This one is not open yet, but I have tried it and it kind of blew me away the other week when I tried it. This is actually a leaving gift from my last job. They totally suckered me and convinced me they were buying it for someone else, and I had no idea I was getting that. So I'm incredibly grateful for such a lovely gift. And one from Derbyshire. It's going to be very fond memories of working in Derbyshire. Another whiskey I've got is these on the older side. Got Lagavulin Distiller's Edition. So I like the peatiness. I like to really chow down on a bonfire every winter with that whiskey. Kind of warms you up on the insides, makes you feel like you're a part of nature. Very nice indeed. And also, if you watched our recent blind tasting, you managed to correctly identify one of the whiskies in that blind tasting, and that was as a Feta Cairn, and there's a reason for that. I do drink Feta Cairn. This is a Feta Cairn. This is a Fask. This is an older one. But yeah, I remember actually going down the Royal Mile in Edinburgh, and I went in a whisky shop. I remember having a big discussion about Feta Cairn. It's kind of a hot topic about whether your whiskey is chill filtered and what colourings have been added and stuff, and we didn't have an argument, we had a minor disagreement. I still rather like Feta Cairn, and their choices that are made in the production, you can go one way or the other and it can still be pretty damn good. So there you go, you might have the pleasure of seeing my whiskey collection at a later point. That is, these are the kind of things I like to drink. Okay, so I have many other interests. I like reading and I like jiu-jitsu. I do go to jiu-jitsu a bit every now and then. I used to do judo as well at one point, but as you can tell, I've let it go a little bit. But then my major other big like, which is partly what we get into on the channel, is film really, film and television. I'm more a film person than a television person myself. When it comes to film, I like all the retro pop culture things from our age. So we're all getting on a bit. We're all middle aged. So the 80s is a golden era of films, but the genre that's attracted me the most in recent years has got to be horror, really. I've always watched horror, but it's only in the last 2 or 3 years I've really been getting into it. So I would say that my favourite horror film is probably still The Wicker Man. Look at that box. It's massive, isn't it? It's got all sorts in here. It's got a pop-up lock. It's got postcards, more discs than you can shake a stick at. If you had a sandwich this size, how lucky would you be? So yeah, love anything folk horror, anything that really gets to you under the skin. Quite an arty one. I do like my arty stuff every now and then. And then if you want to go totally opposite direction, you go with something like Black Sheep. Yeah, killer sheep, because of genetic experimentation. It's fantastic, really, in the film world anyway. So yeah, I like drinking tea, I like whiskey, I also like sake, and I'm kind of slightly Polish heritage, so I'm meant to really like vodka, and to some degree I do, and I've got some nice ones, but whiskey is where it's at. And so any questions, then feel free to ask.